It hasn't happened overnight. There are no quick fixes to a problem that took years to create. But I'm here to tell you today that with small changes can come big results. I believe that every single person who struggles with weight has a story. Every pound and every inch tells a tale. It is almost always more than just being lazy, as so many people wrongfully assume. My obesity stemmed from the fact that my father was an alcoholic, abused my mother, and verbally and physically abused me. Food was the only comfort I could find in a turbulent household. Food was always there. Food never judged me, never hurt me or my feelings, or made me feel inadequate about myself. It was a constant source of comfort, satisfied cravings, and gave me a sense of control when the world around me was chaos. My mother has struggled with her own weight for as long as I can remember. She developed her own issues with food and weight. I recall lots of diet programs over the years: Weight Watchers, Atkins, the cabbage soup diet, Herbal Magic, to name a few. Weight was a subject that was always at the forefront of our home. Her weight yo-yoed up and down throughout my childhood and into adulthood. She still struggles with her weight today, and unfortunately, I have followed in her footsteps. My weight was a touchy subject throughout my entire childhood. My grandmother would often bribe me with the promise of a cruise if I could lose weight and fit into a bikini. Well, unfortunately, she's dead, and I'm still fat, so we all know how that turned out. I've experienced bullying all throughout childhood. I've been called just about every name in the book: fatty, cow, hippo, Jillian Jiggs is a big fat pig. My teasing even overcame language barriers. I was teased in French, cochon, which is pig, and I was also teased in sign language by the deaf kid in school. I was at the mercy of everyone. As I walked down the halls of junior high, kids would yell, "Earthquake!" and hold on to their lockers for support. I spent many nights crying myself to sleep as a result of the torment I experienced at the hands of my classmates. And time after time, I would turn to food for comfort. One thing my mother would always say to me as she wiped away my tears was that I may be fat, but I could diet and lose the weight, and those other kids would still be ugly. I never did have the nerve to use that line as a rebuttal to being teased. Hurling out one insult to deflect another wouldn't have helped much. But I appreciate my mom trying to make me feel better, as I'm sure it was hard on her to see me upset all of the time. Another option was just to sit on them, but I've never been one for violence. My butt was intended to be used, not to be used as a weapon, only for peace and sitting. As the years went by, my weight increased and my self-esteem decreased. I struggled for years with depression and anxiety. Several attempts were made throughout my youth to lose the weight, but successes were short-lived. I lost 50 pounds on Atkins, but gained it all back, plus more, once I resumed my old eating habits. I went away to university in 2002, where I was terrified that the freshman 15, like the boogeyman, was going to find me. Oh, it did, and then some. My dysfunctional eating habits followed me. My dorm was next to a gym, but I could count the times I stepped inside on one finger. I moved to Meadow Lake in 2004. I was a stranger in a distant land. Once again, food became a source of comfort and entertainment as I spent a lot of my time alone. I gained and I gained. I was terrified of visiting back home as I was humiliated at how large I had gotten. And as I had feared, my weight was brought up on more than one occasion when I arrived back in New Brunswick. In 2007, I lost my friend Jenna in an accident when she was on her way from New Brunswick to Meadow Lake to visit me. She made it as far as Borden, Saskatchewan, where her car was hit by a school bus and she was killed. Completely devastated, I ate because of the guilt. I ate to numb the pain, and I ate to grieve. My weight spiraled out of control. Some say you need to hit rock bottom before you can climb out. Unfortunately, I had to be escorted by the fire department while I was strapped to a spine board. I have always been a bit paranoid about breaking things due to my weight. Chairs, bikes, I was even scared to ride a horse because I didn't want to break its legs. So it's almost fitting that my aha moment involved a set of stairs. As I went down the stairs, they made some god-awful squeaking and groaning noises, so I tread lightly. As lightly as a person my size could, anyway. The way back up was just the beginning of my story. As I literally got to the top step, I heard a snap and came crashing down 15 feet onto my back. My glasses were knocked off of my face and landed on the kitchen floor while I landed below. I didn't fall through the stairs, I fell with the stairs, as the 4 deck screws that were holding them in place, which turns out isn't up to code, snapped because of the weight. There's nothing like being carted out of the house by the fire department to humiliate and motivate me into making a change. As I recovered from my fall, it became blatantly obvious that I needed to make a change. If I was looking for a sign, it'd slap me across the face and throw me down some stairs. The first step on my journey, which I had been missing in every other failed weight loss attempt, was determining why I was fat. Not how I got fat, I ate. That was a no-brainer. But why? What happened in my life that triggered my dysfunctional relationship with food? It took a lot of self-reflection, and around this time I was writing a paper on my mother for a women's studies class about the abuse she endured at the hands of my father. After interviews with her and my own memories, it became clear to me the majority of my issues with food stemmed from my childhood. Again, food helped me cope. Food made me feel better, and food made me feel like I had control over my life when it was chaos. Food had become my best friend and my worst enemy. Once I figured out the why behind my weight issues, I had to address my nutrition, or lack thereof. First step was cutting out the garbage. I had developed an unhealthy habit of late-night stops to 7-Eleven and binging on big gulps, chips, chocolate bars, and candy. Yes, all in one sitting. To think of that now makes me cringe. Those days had to come to an end. The next steps were to tackle my physical activity, which up until that point consisted of doing laps from the couch to the fridge and doing bicep curls, putting food into my face. I started playing Wii Fit and Just Dance so I could humiliate myself in the comfort of my own home. Gradually, my clothes started fitting better, so something was obviously working. But I still had no idea how much I weighed. In January of 2010, I took the plunge and purchased a scale. I made sure to buy one that had the highest weight capacity because I had no idea where I was starting from. When I got it home, I hopped on and just about died. 390 pounds. I am positive that at my heaviest, I was easily over 400 pounds. This collage ties into our vision board activity, though I like to call it a reverse vision board, as these are things I no longer want in my life. I found this collage incredibly helpful to keep me moving forward. I put it on the fridge door, so every time I would go to eat, it would encourage me to make the right choices, as this was the path I would be on if I made the wrong ones. Eventually, I left the comfort of my own home and took to the streets. I started walking short distances. I huffed and I puffed, but at least I was moving in the right direction. Walking was followed by biking. Once I convinced myself I wasn't going to break the bike. Biking was followed by swimming. Once I got over my self-consciousness of being in public in a bathing suit. The more weight that came off, the better I felt, and the more I wanted to do, because the first time in a long time, I actually could do these things. When tying your own shoes was a struggle, anything beyond that is extremely liberating. Zumba has played a huge part in my weight loss journey. It got me off the couch, out of the house, and shaping my booty towards a healthier me. I took my first class in 2010. It took a lot of courage for me to walk through the doors of the gym and go to a class. I was reminded of something I'd said when my mother had signed up for belly dancing many moons ago. I'm all belly, no dance. The same rule applied for Zumba. I was so self-conscious and terrified I would make a fool out of myself. But little did I know, that's the fun part. I danced, I stumbled, I laughed, I jiggled, and I sweat. And just like that, I was in love. After a year of taking classes, and with some encouragement from some amazing people who believed in me, I decided to become a certified Zumba instructor. I attended training in April 2011, and the rest is Zumba history. I started teaching in May 2011 and haven't stopped since. I've also completed training in Zumba Basic 2, Zumba Gold, and Aqua Zumba. Another activity that has contributed to my weight loss journey is CrossFit. CrossFit is a multifunctional fitness program that involves weightlifting, gymnastics, and cardiovascular exercise. CrossFit consists of short, high-intensity exercises and is constantly varied. I began my CrossFit journey in August of 2011. I saw pictures and videos online and always thought, I could never do that. But when the opportunity to participate in CrossFit came up 2 years ago, I jumped at the chance. I would never know if I could or couldn't do something if I didn't at least try. So I took the plunge and have been in love ever since. CrossFit pushes me both physically and mentally. I'm able to do things I never thought possible. And the thing that I love most about CrossFit, that it's for everyone. No matter age, size, mobility, or fitness abilities. There are people in wheelchairs doing CrossFit. There are 90-year-old grandmas doing CrossFit. There are even kids doing CrossFit. The workouts can be scaled up or down to fit anyone. The CrossFit community is so supportive, though a little healthy competition at times is always fun. We're there to cheer each other on and to help each other be the best that we can possibly be. It's easy to focus on and be completely discouraged by the number on the scale. How many times have I weighed myself, frowned at the number on the display, hopped off, moved the scale to another part of the floor, hopped back on, hoping to get that sweet number that I so crave. Although for many years people assumed that being overweight and obese was an accurate barometer of one's health, it does not measure what's going on the inside. Cardiovascular health is extremely important at any size and can dramatically reduce your risk of disease. Even just a moderate increase in your physical activity can have positive health benefits. But don't forget to eat healthy. Food and exercise are the most important aspects of overall health. Not pills, not shakes, not wraps. The old-fashioned diet and exercise is all you really need. There are other numbers that are more important than those on the scale. Cholesterol, glucose, blood pressure, these are all important markers to your overall health. Since I'm a visual learner, I thought it would be interesting to compare lab results from the past couple of years. The results were not only startling, but incredibly validating, as I'm doing something right. So I have the levels here from 2005, 2009, and 2012. I went from being a pre-diabetic with high cholesterol and borderline high blood pressure to lowering all of my levels into the normal range. I now have what I like to call the heart rate of an athlete. No medications, no surgeries, no quick fixes. Eating healthy and regular exercise has the ability to slow down or even reverse disease. It's easy to judge a book by its cover. When someone sees an obese person, they assume they live a sedentary lifestyle with their butt firmly parked on the couch, munching out on Twinkies and guzzling cola. On the other end of the spectrum, one would see a skinny person and assume they're extremely fit, healthy and active, running marathons while eating carrots and drinking protein shakes. Multitasking at its finest. Well, in case you hadn't learned, looks can be deceiving. On first meeting, a lot of people would assume that I'm a lazy slob. It's an honest mistake, since the majority of overweight and obese people are painted with a big fat brush in the media. Obesity is seen as an epidemic. Numbers are on the rise. Don't get too close to a fat person. I hear it's contagious. But contrary to popular belief, I'm more active than people half my size. I teach Zumba. I do CrossFit 4 times a week, swim, walk, hike, and bike. I'd climb mountains if I had one. While I'm still considered obese by medical standards, what's going on inside tells a much different story. Studies have shown that it's easier to make a fat person fit than it is to make a fat person thin. It's the years of yo-yo dieting in the name of being skinny and beautiful that is leading to the majority of health problems. We don't necessarily need to lose the weight. need to lose our obsession with being skinny, no matter the cost to our health. The face of health and fitness is changing, and thin isn't necessarily it. I had to completely change the way I looked at food. My previous plan was a seafood diet. I would see food, and I would eat it. Absolutely no thought went into what I put in my mouth. It filled a void, scratched an itch, and satisfied a craving. Calories, fat, carbohydrates, what are those? All I cared about was A, did it taste good? B, did it make me feel better? And C, can I have more? It's inescapable. I need food to live. It runs my life. It's the epitome of a codependent relationship. But I can't seem to wrap my head around the fact that for some people, food is fuel, and that's it. They don't think about it all the time. They consume food. Food does not consume them. I will be eating breakfast, all the while thinking of what I'll be having for lunch. I grew up with my own meal called bed lunch. That one last meal of the day to prevent me from starving to death in my sleep. I have often been lovingly told that my eyes are bigger than my belly. Just being in the presence of food, I had to have it. I would fill my plate to humiliating proportions and eat every last bite because it was there. I wasn't going to waste it. How many of us as kids have been told, "There's starving children in Africa. They would kill to have this food. Don't you dare waste it." Well, I didn't. You're welcome. We need to change the way we look at food. Once my physical activity increased, I needed to learn that food equals fuel. If you put crappy fuel in, you're going to get crappy performance. Quality, nutritionally dense food, and fresh and whole foods can provide you with energy, keep you fuller longer, and make you look and feel better. Low quality, refined and processed convenience food can slow you down, cause weight gain, skin problems, and make you feel like garbage. Though it tastes good now, it won't feel good later. You don't have to give up everything. Any diet that forces you to give up everything is setting you up for failure. My experience has showed me that if I'm required to give up everything, suddenly it's all I can think about. I obsess about it, and then when I finally get my chubby fingers on it, I go out on an all-out binge. Because who knows when I'll ever get it again? I feel like a failure, and then just revert back to my old habits, and the dysfunctional relationship with food continues. I am a strong advocate of everything in moderation. You can have your cake and eat it too. Just go for a walk afterwards. You can lose the weight and get fit without depriving yourself of foods you enjoy. You just need to find the balance between calorie intake and calorie expenditure. I am slowly learning to let go of my dysfunctional relationship with food. It's a relationship 28 years in the making, so change is not happening overnight. I am discovering the why behind a lot of my food choices. I have become more in tune with my emotional eating. All emotions require cake. And when I do make not so great food choices, the gym is always there to catch me when I fall. You don't have to be a victim of your story. The past has a way of shaping us, and unfortunately, my past of abuse, bullying, depression, and anxiety, and my attempts to fix it with food has shaped me with hundreds of excess pounds. The first step to making a change is just that, a step. It doesn't have to be a giant leap, just one foot in front of the other. Make small changes to your eating. Choose to cook at home instead of ordering fast food. Choose fresh over processed food. Choose to go for a walk instead of sitting on the couch. That's all it takes. Once you start gaining momentum, the weight will come off and you'll feel better and want to do more, because now you can. We are not helpless to our circumstances. We each have the power to take our own health into our own hands. There are 3 meals a day to make choices that will either harm us or heal us. Use those choices wisely. You're just one step away from embarking on your own journey. Thank you for allowing me to share mine. Does anyone have any questions?
The first year and the difference was the year 2012. We can't see them. It's hard to see.
So in 2005, my total cholesterol was 5.04, and in 2012 it's down to 2.5. The triglycerides, 2.95, and in 2012, 0.92. HDL was 0.94, and in 2012 it's 1.57. LDL is, I like this laser pointer, 2.12, and in 2012 1.94. My fasting glucose, which I didn't realize until Paula had pointed it out, that this was pre-diabetic levels of 8.4. My glucose is 5.3 in 2005. In 2012, it was 4.8. I didn't do a two-hour fasting one in my blood work in 2012. But I find it incredibly validating because yes, the number on the scale went down, but I found this much more important.
I just want to thank you, Jillian, for your courage to come and tell us your really important story. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that, Jillian. Very courageous.